So there's a video I'm going to link below from 12 Gauge Angel. And he, I know what you're thinking. Angel's a girl's name, right? Well, obviously you've never met a Latino, because Angel's a boy's name. Anyway, his video is about, does God exist? Now, before I lose some of you who are concerned about Lamb Dog thumping his Bible, and we turn in our text to the Book of Wonder, hear me out, please, because this video probably will not go the direction you believe it will go. Now, 12G, he has a list on his video of reference videos talking about quantum mechanics, and he is interested in how people are scientifically trying to prove or discover the existence of God or the presence of God. Right from the get-go, though, I am probably half an hour into the first video on the series, and I don't want anything that I say to mess with what you, the viewer, may be thinking of. So please, if you can, and if you don't want spoilers on this, go over to 12G's video, right? Link below, just click on it, or cut and paste it, whatever you want to do. And watch his thing first, and then watch the other thing, so that it isn't spoiled if you want to understand, like, the sciencey part of it before I give my opinion, because I wouldn't want my opinion to taint the way that somebody else views it, and then ends up affecting the outcome, because that's going to be a cornerstone of my premise in dealing with this. So go ahead and do that. No, seriously, go do it. I'm not kidding. Last chance. Really. I ain't playing. It's going to get ugly here in a second. Alright. The double split in experiment. I'm sure you're familiar by now because you followed instructions on what that is. And here's the thing. The double split experiment, I did some research on my own outside of the video, which is Dr. Quantum, the cartoon, and his ridiculously oversimplified view of the state of matter. Okay? But what happens, you have the single slit, and the particles, as they say, hits the board behind the slit in a nice little pattern. But when you have two slits, which are actually, they make it look like in the video that they're so far apart, but in the actual experiment they are 0.7 millimeters apart, which is very, very wide from a subatomic distance. However, that's pretty damn close, and they're making it look like it's really far apart. And whenever you do that, it spreads out. Instead of like a particle shooting straight, it makes a pattern, a diffusing pattern on the back. So instead of just being two straight slits, it makes it like a wave, and there's several in the spectrum. I'm not going to draw a picture of it for you, but needless to say, the waves begin to diffuse and spread out and hit. So you have two slits, and it puts 8 patterns on the backboard. Now, in the experiment, the original one from 1869, or was it 1829? They use light, and light, as we know, it's a wave, not a particle. And so naturally, a light wave will diffuse the way that we're talking about here. Now, in the later experiment, they're actually using electrons, right? But that's not the issue. We can all comprehend that electrons may transmit themselves as a wave, as they're being perceived or transported, right? That's fine. The kicker of this experiment, though, is when we're simply observing, all of a sudden, instead of making this diffusion wave pattern on the backboard, it makes two slits, as in a particle. So it converts the electrons from behaving like a wave to behaving like a particle. So particle shoots straight, wave naturally is curvy like a snake. Okay, something didn't sit right with me in my gut, okay? And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, no, this doesn't make sense. And it was like, how do we observe electrons, right? We can't do it optically. We observe electrons by bombarding a location with protons, positively charged particles, okay? So our experiment involves negatively charged particles, and it is being measured by positively charged particles. And the big miracle of the experiment, according to Captain Quantum, is the behavior changes when it's being observed because the electrons somehow know. My gut tells me, logically, the reason why the electrons change in behavior is because of us, the observer. The method we have of observation is interfering with the behavior of these electrons. So that's what I have going out the gate, and there is more where that came from. So, see, told you this wasn't going to be like you thought it was. Great subject though, 12G, and I would imagine from here, now that I've addressed the split theory, my opinion, my views on it, probably next series we'll see how it goes, man. But lob the ball over in your court. Hopefully a couple other people chime in too. This is cool stuff, and we'll see y'all later.